Hi, I'm Michelle Gertis, and welcome to our class today. We're going to be working with anxiety and failure, two things that a lot of us experience. One of the main things that I want to focus on today as we're doing these clearings is to start actually analyzing whether our anxiety is truly anxiety or if there's another emotion that might fit there better. And failure, a lot of times we don't realize that we're carrying a sense of failure. And so when we do these releases today, you may find a shift in yourself, even if you don't completely relate to the emotions. So the oils that we're choosing for anxiety is just joy. So if you don't have a joy oil, then let's go ahead and grab like a maybe citrus fresh and frankincense together, or lemon and valor frankincense. So those would be great to have if you have just your starter kit. But if you've been doing this for a little while, you've probably already known the wonderfulness of joy and you've probably grabbed it. So put that on your list for purchasing next time. And just know that when you get that joy, that you want to work a little bit more on uh, that emotion of anxiety. For failure, we are going to really be using peppermint today. So that one is a great oil, very versatile, very inexpensive. It does come in the starter kit, and when you get ready to repurchase it, you can get you a great big bottle and just have it all the time. Now, a couple of other oils that are really great when we're talking about your spleen and your stomach, because when we talk about the spleen, it kind of just is going to be known that your stomach is coming along with it because those two work in tandem together. So, a lot of the energy for your stomach is right there, the same as your spleen. And so, they're going to be sharing a lot of those energies. So those other oils that I was going to talk about was ledum, and so right before we popped on this morning, I was trying to look for it, and I'm like, oh, I have to open a new bottle. It's a very expensive oil. I bought my first one probably about 8 years ago when I had some kidney stones and kidney UTI going on. It's really great for that. It's pretty expensive. So there's about 85 drops in a small 5 ml. So that's about $1 a drop. And the price has probably gone up since the first time I bought it. So this is a great one to have on hand. You're going to use it sparingly. You're gonna cherish it. But that's the my oil of choice this morning for my spleen. I need to up and ramp up what I'm working on in my spleen. Another one that's great to use is Believe. And yes, we have an oil that just says Believe. And I love that oil for many reasons, but it's going to help with the spleen. Just on the side note, it does help with any kind of chigger bites. So anything, Cortland was attacked by mosquitoes, and I only had Believe in the car, and we put it on her little body when she was little, and I just said, "Just believe it's going to work." And by the time we got home, those things were gone. So that was pretty cool. Um, and then the other oil that's really great for your spleen and to work on anxiety and failure is clarity. Because why? Because a lot of times we're believing lies, and we need to be clear on what is the truth, right? So clarity is the other one. All right. So today we're just going to take that oil that you want to work with it at first, and we're going to go ahead and hold on, and we're going to go ahead and put that in our hand. Go ahead and give it a quick turnabout, real lightly. I will usually do it 3 times. Once that oil is in your hand, then we're going to go ahead and smell it. And this time we're going to actually take in our deep breath, counting in 5 seconds. And then we're going to hold for 5 seconds and then breathe out for 5 seconds. We're doing this today with our oils in our hand. So the oil that you've chosen, if that's joy to start with, or another one that you have on hand, then let's start with that. And then we'll bring in peppermint a little bit later. So let's don't do peppermint yet. Okay. So go ahead and breathe in. We're going to hold 5 counts. And we're going to breathe out. Remember, we're exhaling as far as we can and then still trying to push some more breath out of us. So there's nothing left. And breathe back in and hold and breathe out. Breathe back in trying to get more in and hold and breathe out. We're just going to do it one more time this morning. Hold and breathe out. Now, this is an exercise you can do daily in the morning, at night, in the afternoon. Maybe put it in part of your routine before you go back to work at lunchtime. Sit at your desk for a minute and just go, okay, I'm going to get back in the zone and do some deep breathing right before you get started. You'll notice just doing this exercise, you're going to bring in so much oxygen that is needed in your cells. That's going to allow a lot of this natural emotional release that needs to happen. We tend to not breathe very deeply. And so when we're breathing shallow, we don't get as much energy in our body. And so our body can't do the things that it normally would function with. All right. So you'll notice something we didn't go over gratitude, and we're actually skipping that today. So I'm wanting you to go back. If you're paying attention to this segment, and as we work through it, um, one of the biggest things with failure is not really connecting with the word gratitude. And so I want you to go back and just look at one of my videos. You can find it on YouTube that's going to be titled Gratitude. And it's very short. And so you can do that gratitude clearing and then come back and do this clearing one more time. And you will see a tremendous difference in how that clearing will work for you. Okay. So we're going to get started. I'm going to give just a short little praise to the Lord and we'll get started. Father God, we just praise you for creation and praise you for creating us. We thank you for the many modalities that you've given us to work with our bodies and especially the oils because our bodies recognize them, their molecular structure. I mean, you made them for us and you knew that they would do something miraculous for us. So we just praise you for doing that for us. And we just ask you to be in this moment and ask you to be in our healing and to help us to move forward and to release those things that are no longer needed in our bodies. And we thank you in all things. So now we're going to get started and we want to like really focus our intent. So my intent today is just to release any negative emotions and uh, any blockers that I've created and any judgments I've created around anxiety and failure that do not line up with the divine. Meaning, when I say divine, I mean the most holy God of all. We use that term God in so many different religions that I want to be specific about who you know I'm talking about. And so when I talk about the divine, I'm talking about the creator of the universe, the creator of our world. And so that's who I want my life to line up with, and my thoughts and my actions and to line up with. And so anything that's deviated from that is usually falls under the category of um, not truth. And so that's why you have to be intent. Your intent is to know the truth. Your intent is to follow the truth, and your intent is to want the truth to work in your life. And so that would be um, following the divine. Okay. So we're going to look on, okay, we're going to start with our anxiety. I'm going to try to get not as chipper as I am this morning. I wasn't when I started off this morning, I'll tell you. Okay, so we're going to start with anxiety. Let me actually tell you what anxiety actually means. Would that make a difference if you knew what it actually meant? Um, for you, this is the feelings that you probably would feel if you were carrying anxiety. So you may be terminating using the terminology of anxiety. And then when I tell you what you might be feeling, you may go, oh, that's not exactly it. I just know anxiety feels like my chest is rapidly moving. Okay, that can actually be your response, can actually be a different emotion. So that's why we're really tapping into our body. We're going to talk about what the feelings of anxiety should kind of feel like to you, and see if you relate. And then if not, you can be like, okay, maybe it's not anxiety that's my emotion, and move on to a different one to work on. Okay, so do you have a feeling of being trapped and confined? Do you have a feeling that you're unable to be in charge? You're not able to call the shots per se, or feelings of hopelessness. Okay. So when we think of those things, does that ring a bell or not? So just kind of keep that in mind. Now we're going to ask the question is, whose anxiety am I carrying? Whose anxiety is this? Is this my anxiety? If this is not my anxiety, then I return it to sender. So smell your oil again. And we just move that energy back to sender. So for some people, what works really well is to actually visualize that energy or that abundance of emotion kind of rising up from your spleen area and moving actually out of your body, or seeing it come to form in a ball in front of you and then having it come out from your body. Another way to do that is we're we are magnetism magnets. And so we can actually help to move that energy up and out by actually using our hand as a magnet, or you can get a little magnet and actually run it across your head and pull that energy off. This was one of my favorite ways to do it in the beginning because it helped me to actually move it off, have the feeling of moving it off. So, how much of this anxiety have you collected from other people? Are you a collector of anxiety? Why do you collect anxiety? Is this a judgment that you made that you should be in charge? This is some way that you could be in charge, a way you could be in control of something. So, whatever that is, we want to bring up, and we just want to release that you have the acknowledgement that you have been collecting anxiety from others. And you're going to reprogram yourself into not collecting that energy anymore. So your truth was, I should collect it. I need to collect it. It's my responsibility to collect it. And you want to change that to like, it's not my job. It's not my responsibility to collect your anxiety. I can help you with your anxiety. I can surrender your anxiety that you've given me to God. But we have to make a conscious decision to actually surrender that over. So I just pick up my anxiety and I actually give that to you, Lord, not y'all. Okay. So we've talked about this before, but I just want to restate it again. If you're standing there and you're clutching on to your anxiety and you're holding on to it because you don't know who you're going to be if you don't have this anxiety and don't have this fear and don't know what else you can worry about, but you need to worry about it all. Um, you see my hands start to clutch and they're holding on to it tight because for dear life, if I let go of that, my whole world is going to fall apart. That's actually kind of a lie, isn't it? And so what we want to do is to be able to release it. But for some reason, my hands are just holding tight. So I'm going to surrender and ask God, Jesus, Please help me to surrender this anxiety to you. Even if that means that I'm allowing God to pry my hands open so that I am now free to give that anxiety to Him. So a lot of times people will say, um, you know, that's my burden to bear, to carry. Well, is it? A lot of times we take burdens to carry that aren't our own. Okay. So we bring all the joy to front that we cannot see because of the anxiety. So we just release all negative emotions associated with anxiety that are ready to be released now in Jesus' name. So basically, we want to take that. You may need to get a little bit of oil, more oil, but I have sufficient, I think, still in my hands. And now we want to touch the reflexology points. Okay. So we really want to clear that spleen. So right here under, you can see your hand, you'll have a line. I don't know what it's called. There's a line that comes right about here. And right underneath it, you can see that that is actually your spleen point. Okay. So you can press it right there, and then you can do some Vita Flex. So Vita Flex is going from your pad of your finger all the way over to the from the tip to the flat part of your nail. So just Vita Flex it 4 or 5 times. Okay, now we're going to move to right underneath your collarbone. So right here and then a little bit under. So right under your collarbone, go ahead and then just with your first finger, you can do those Vita Flex points right there. So really telling that spleen, hey, we are supporting you today. We are here to help. We thank you for everything you've done for us and are doing. And we just want to give you some help and just take some of the burden off of you. Okay. And then you can reach your arms around and kind of feel your spleen. Now, there's some other great meridians, points for your spleen and stomach that you can look up and work through, and some stretches that you can do that will also help to relieve your spleen. And as we work on that this month. Okay, we're going to move over quickly to failure. Now, you'll notice anxiety was kind of short. Um, Mainly because we lump so many things into anxiety that are not anxiety. So, failure is when one falls short of success or achievement in something expected, attempted, or desired. So, that could be like in your marriage or other relationships, your finances. Like if you did bad in athletics or academics, we typically think of failure. And then some of us will take failure to a whole nother extent. And failure is, anything we don't do perfect. So you'll find people that are perfectionists are afraid of failure. So they do everything um, so that they don't have to fail or to be called out on something. So let's go ahead and put the peppermint on our hands. And then I'm using the Leadum. I'll open in this big expensive bottle. Oh, it smells so good though. Okay, no more class. I'm just going to sit and smell Leadum. Okay, I'm just going. Oh, I just used $2 of oil. It's worth every penny. If you ever go to a farm, you'll just come back going, I don't know why they don't charge more. There's so much work involved. Okay, so let's breathe in the failure. I meant Leadum, your oil. And let's go ahead and hit that VitaFlex point on your hand. And go ahead and use a little bit of that oil back here on your spleen. I'm looking so tiny because my thumbnail of myself is really little. And so I can't see myself. So So the mirror part of this I'm using, I can't see. Okay, so in failure, we really are looking at being ungrateful, carrying guilt, and a lot of dishonesty. Hmm. It's pretty interesting words that I just used. Okay. One of the things that we're looking for is to accept growth and to see things unfold. Many times we're held back from growing. So our blocker, our emotional blocker, is keeping us from accepting growth and doesn't let us see beyond now. It won't let us see what could be, and it keeps us stuck in the past. Okay. So let's start by saying, I accept growth. I accept growth. I accept growth. I see things unfold. I see things unfold. I see things unfold. I want to stop for just one moment. There's a few of you that um, can already feel in your body that you disagree with that statement and you're very literal. So, how we would want to say those statements for you is I am in the process of accepting growth. I am in the process of accepting growth. I am in the process of accepting growth. I am in the process of seeing things unfold. I am in the process of seeing things unfold. I am in the process of seeing things unfold. Whose failure is this? Whose failure is this? Everywhere this has brought up failure that is not mine, I now release all the emotions and entanglements that I've collected. And you can move that energy if you feel like you need to, or some people need to actually take it off like a shirt or a big long pajama gown. What are my opportunities? What are my opportunities if I no longer feel failure in my daily walk? What are my opportunities if I no longer judge myself according to failure? What are my opportunities if I no longer feel guilt when guilt is not mine to feel? What are my opportunities if I am no longer dishonest with myself, with my mind, my spirit, and emotions, and I see the truth? So your consciousness is like going, oh my gosh. And your subconscious is like, what are the possibilities if we didn't think about ourselves as being a failure all the time? It's wanting to reconnect and feel all different kinds of emotions and work on your neural pathways, reprogram yourself to be who God intended you to be. Everywhere that I have felt ungrateful, I bring that energy to attention and I release it now. Everywhere I've collected the emotions of guilt, I collect all of that energy off of my spleen and stomach and anywhere else that it's landed in my body, mind, and spirit, and I release that now. Everywhere that I have been dishonest or have had an emotion of being dishonest, I identify that in my body, mind, and spirit, and I release that now. Okay, let's go ahead. Do what you need to do to get that energy off you. So that's a new one for me. I don't usually like spread out. Usually I feel it through my hair and I can feel I just need to mess with my hair and let it all go crazy. Um, but for years we did this kind of thing because it does. That energy needs to come out of you, and our intent is that as it's leaving you, it dissipates and it doesn't go to anyone else. It doesn't land on anyone. It doesn't come through the screen and land on one of our participants. It's just dissipating, dissolving. So basically, when we want to come back and do our fill ups, and so everywhere that we have released energy, we just invite love and kindness and love for all mankind, atonement energy. If there's some scripture that you find comforting to you, you may want to read that and put it in place. And as we're doing all of this great clearing, you just want to take some time to really pay attention to are you reacting or are you acting with your emotions? So there will be another video that you can click on that is called Reacting and Acting. And that is going to help you to start identifying how you behave so that you will know um, when these emotions come to you and how you express yourself. Are you reacting to them or are you in charge? Understand it and are actively participating in the emotion so that it can um, then disperse and leave. I hope this has helped you today. I know the way I do things is not following a protocol. The Lord just gives me what to talk to you about, and that's how I roll. So if you have any questions, you can always text and find me on. You can find me online at revive17.com, or you can text me at 817-456-2874, and y'all have a good day.